Oh, nearly 50. Come on, you ready?
You gotta break the engine stand.
50 PSI! Yes! Woo!
Alright, so the bus is out. Got the Silvia in here, just been cleaning it out. Fair bit of stuff in there. Looks like a CA radiator and some thermos. Center console, some sway bars, a couple of sets of lights, adjustable arms. Apparently there's some more in the back, that's why there's only one side of rears. Steering wheel cluster, some spare coilovers, some plumbing and whatnot, overflow, spare diff, aircon pump and bracket. Fair bit of stuff, couple of ECUs. It's pretty filthy, as project cars get. It's sort of just got everything thrown in it, so just gonna clean it out. And then this motor and gearbox can come out. Got seats, got two of those. So yeah. The wiring's an absolute mess. I will not be touching it. That will all get ripped out and this will get wired from scratch. But yeah, exciting times ahead. Alrighty, so I've managed to get the engine loom out. What a mess. Just a standalone RB25 engine loom. It had a Mines ECU in it, which is pretty much for Australia throw in the bin because they are locked with a tune that is for 104 octane fuel from Japan. So they're pretty useless to us because they will make a motor ping until it pops. Shit ECUs. Just pulled kind of the carpet up and she's infested with ants, which is always nice. Beautiful. Fucking ants everywhere. So anyway, all this will be coming out because I don't want to deal with this shit. I won't be running carpet anyway, so I'll rip it all out. Rank. Alrighty, all the rank carpet's been pulled out. Once it's dried out a bit more, I'll actually give it a good clean up and vacuum it out. Just taking this panel off the bottom of the windscreen. We've got a little bit of rust. This hole in here was just absolutely packed full of leaves because it's been sitting under a tree, so if you are looking to buy an S13, that's one place to look for rust. This side's not as bad, but all cleaned out now. Alrighty, beautiful morning out here. Spent most of last night just getting this motor ready to come out. I stripped and tied it up inside of this, just sort of letting it dry out. After I pull this cage out, I'll actually get in there and fully clean it up and vacuum it out. And yeah, I had a look underneath. It's obviously been sitting somewhere pretty moist because there's a lot of fucking shit underneath. That's pretty how you going. Anyway, plan this morning is drop this gearbox, then I'll probably go have some brekkie and then pull this motor out. I adjusted these coilovers all the way up so that just makes it a bit easier to move around and get jacks under and shit, because there's no need for it to be that fucking low because it's a real pain in the ass. So that happened. So that'll be easier. I'll probably do the back as well. I haven't touched the back yet. These coilovers are rooted anyway. They drop all the way down. So you can see up here on the rear control arms and stuff, there's a bit of pitting and whatnot. It's yeah, pretty average. Got some adjustable arms on that side. The other half of them are there. But basically all will need a complete rebuild. The spare diff I've got is a 5-bolt half shaft. This one's 6. It's a bit of a pain, but anyway, doesn't really matter. But yeah, all needs to be rebuilt. This whole cradle will need to be rebuilt. The actual body's not too bad. There's a bit of rust up in the windscreen, which I showed you last night. There's another bit of a rust hole there, a bit of a weep hole. Overall, not too bad for a race car. So that's the main things. The body's in pretty good nick. Alright, so the motor and gearbox have been pulled out. Nice and empty. So, here's the motor. Basically, plan at the moment is to comp test this. I'll pull the valve covers off, have a look inside, make sure it turns over, obviously. As long as it comp tests up alright and it turns over and everything's fine, I'll strip this down to a bare long motor, and it will go into the other Silvia, replace the 25 that's knocking, and then I will have a drift car again, albeit it will be just pretty much a stock RB25 with a standard 25 ECU, but still it's better than not having a drift car. The reason I need to do that, if you missed it, there's a video last week or a few weeks ago where I explained why I need to sell the 31, so that's why that's happening now. Brand new clutch, brand new flywheel, which is awesome, so they'll go in this gearbox in the Volvo, so keep posted on that stuff as well. So now I just need to pull this cage out. I'll finish cleaning out the inside of this car and stripping it and give it a good vacuum, and then I will pack all this crap back into it, and it can go back down to its hole for now, because it's going to be probably a little while till I get to this to build the race car. But I am looking forward to it. So I'm going to cut that whole front off and put a tube front on it. It'll get a 6-point cage. That's why I'm taking this cage out, and I want to try and put this cage in the other one, but because the other one's a sunroof model, I'm not sure if it's going to work. But anyway, I'll give it a go. I might have to modify it a bit if I can be bothered. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Righto, it's all been stripped and cleaned out. Just outside having to dry out. It's still real moist in there where that carpet was. The carpet was wet, so just let it dry out for a bit, give it a vacuum and a bit of a clean and rust convert it, and put it back down in its hole after it's had some rust converter. I want to put rust converter on it because it'll probably be a while before I get to it, so I don't want it to deteriorate much more before I get to it. Cage is out. I'll rust convert that too. Alright, just gonna start pulling this down now. Not pulling it down, just pulling the hot and cold side off so I can have a look and see how it's going, because it was left unsealed, so I'm hoping it didn't have too much moisture in it, so it hasn't. I know for a fact that it's been sitting for at least 3 years, so just gonna pull the can covers off and just see what it looks like under there and make sure it's not completely throwaway. we pulled the intake and can covers off and pulled the plugs out and just giving it a bit of an oil up because it's been sitting for a while. And it turns over very easily. Nothing's hitting anything, nothing's colliding, nothing's where it shouldn't be. I've been told that this motor is genuine very low Ks. The bloke imported an R33 and wrote it off very quickly, so it seems to be the case. It doesn't look like it's done a lot of work and everything looks fine, so at this stage it will just be, I'll strip the hot side off, and when I pull the other 25 out of the other Silvia, I'll pull the cold and hot side off it and replace it on this one, and it can go straight in. And it should all be happy days.
Some people just can't
All that power. So much power. Not even the oil pump in the RB can handle the RB power.
That's right.
How we compression test an engine with no starter motor.
No, that's 35 PSI. Oh, nearly 50. Come on, you ready?
You gotta break
50!
the engine.
50 PSI! Yes! Woo! I'll beat that.
You gotta break the fucking engine stand.
I'm gonna break my elbow. Try again. You can hold that handle right out at the end. That'll do it.
What we got there? 125 on the dot.
There
That
it
works.
is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Basically, as long as we get 125, of the rest are sweet.
Alright, let's try it on the rest.
So we've got this elaborate drill set up on compression testing a motor with no starter. So on cylinder 1, 125. So as long as they're all about that, we're sweet. If we've got one that's lower, we know we're pretty rooted, but see how we go. There you go. Drill compression shows basically 120, 125 across all 6. So we're pretty right. It's going to go back together and it's going to go straight in the other sill. And it's going to be fun times with a 3076 and a bit of boost.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, nah. Yeah.